Hey there, welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. This is an opportunity in your day to stop whatever you're doing and take some time to explore how to receive fulfillment in your life by unlearning struggle. So today we are starting a brand new series, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where we are focusing on wellness and beauty, 3 keys to surpass your limits. So I invite you to take a little moment here and just connect with where do you feel limited and where would you like to surpass your limits regarding wellness and beauty. So it could be your health, it could be symptoms, it could be weight loss or fitness, it could be your level of attractiveness or how you perceive yourself in terms of beauty or attractiveness. And whatever is your truth around that, wherever you'd like to experience greater fulfillment, wherever you feel like you have some sort of an upper limit that you just can't get beyond, whether it's your belief that it can be different, or you've tried many different tactics and strategies to change your reality around your physical body. Hey, Denise, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Whether it's an inner world sort of a limit, an outer world, like I've tried different things and I've had limited success or some success, but things go back to the way they were, or I've never been able to get any traction. Whatever it is, just know that this is a training. The whole week we're focusing on this, on how you can surpass your limits with greater ease, speed, and beyond what you've ever thought possible. I'd also like to share that this happens to be a topic that isn't just something I talk about or teach about from a theoretical place, but this is near and dear to my heart as I have traveled my own journey with my own physical wellness and beauty and health and those kinds of issues. I've learned a lot through trial and error in the school of hard knocks and also some really painful experiences, and yet the truth will set you free. And that's what I feel like I got in touch with, really what the core, the truth was around these types of issues. So I'm going to be sharing some of my own personal stories and things that I know that have worked for many of my clients around over the course of many years of coaching. So if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I mentor ambitious, goal-oriented people to surpass their limits with ease and speed. And so with this mini training series that I've been doing, my intention is to support people to bring closure to this year and whatever level of challenge or struggle in your personal life or in relationship to world events, that you really can activate peace, power, and predictability, the predictability that comes from having the right awarenesses and the right practices as we move into a brand new year fresh with possibilities. So I wanted to offer that in support of everyone, because as we connect with our own peace, power, and those skill sets and mindsets that really empower us, the whole world benefits. So I look forward to a fresh new year. New Year's is my favorite holiday because it does have that energy of a fresh slate. Hi, Leslie. Great to see you. And here we go. So today is the first topic. And what I'd like to say is one of my favorite ways of working with people and really dissolving that upper limit is I love to illuminate blind spots, because here's the thing. Ambitious, goal-oriented people tend to view wellness and beauty issues through a hard work ethic lens. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is that the common approach, the common question that we ask when we have either discontent around wellness and beauty or goals or something like that is, this is what the ambitious, goal-oriented person always asks. What do I do? What do I do? And that is the first blind spot we're going to talk about this week. I call it the doing blind spot. And here's what happens. When you are well trained in what I call the doing skills, which means that we are strategic and we're smart and we've been validated for what we can achieve and accomplish and figure out and all the actions that we can take and the outcomes that we produce, we tend to value ourselves. We get our sense of value and self-worth from our capacity to be smart and figure things out and do things. And it's also something that's produced concrete results in our lives. So the doing model of power is actually super effective, but it could only take you so far, i.e., we hit our limit. Sooner or later, we hit our limit because doing is only one aspect of your power and one set of skills. So when you're not able to surpass your limit, when you keep bumping up against the same limit or the same wall, oftentimes what that means is you need to tap into another skill set, which is the being skill set, because we are human beings. But most of us don't think of beingness as a skill. It's just what we are. However, being is about a certain set of skills that I'm really passionate about teaching. And that has to do with everything in the inner world, your inner terrain. So doing is about the outer world. We engage our 5 physical senses. I talked about that, thinking and action and what you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, and it's all very concrete. The inner terrain, which is thoughts, feelings, sensations in our body, emotions, memories, conditions, all of that is just as legitimate, but it's less familiar to us, especially when we've been valued and validated for what we can do. It also makes everything that we want to accomplish much harder, because when you don't achieve your goals and you only know how to access the doing skills and you're left with, well, it isn't working, now what? I don't have the being skills. We work even harder. Hi, Tia Sonia. That's my aunt. She's visiting. So good to see you here. So let's talk about how we access the being skills when it comes to wellness and beauty. Let me check my notes here. Okay, so the first pain point is you feel stuck. There's something you want. There's a goal that you have. You can't get beyond it. You feel stuck. And so we ask, what do I do? Now, the way to start surpassing our limits when it comes to wellness and beauty is to start asking, and this might not make sense to you yet, but stick with me today. Who do I want to be in relationship with my body? Who do I want to be in relationship with my symptoms? Who do I want to be in relationship with my, let's say you have weight goals, with my eating, with my activity level? Who do you want to be in relationship to your sense of beauty? So like I said, stick with me because I'm going to break down what is happening where all of your power lies. The theme for this entire series is this: your consciousness creates your reality. That's the sum total of everything that's happening in your inner world. That is the cause, the first cause of every effect in your physical world. When you're a human doing, you think cause and effect happens in the outer world. But your consciousness creates your reality. And when you become willing to embrace that idea, all things become possible when you had limits before. So what happens when you're a human doing is that you objectify things. All right. You look at things like the hunter. There's a target on the horizon. I'm going to conquer it. I'm going to overcome it. And I'm going to go get that thing. It's an object. And so when we ask, what do I do to get that thing? We start to treat our bodies like that. We objectify our bodies, and our bodies become this thing that we want to overcome and whip into submission so it does what we want it to do. Okay, that's fine if you're actually needing to be in human doing mode. If you're in task mode, if you're in project manager mode, if you have a list of things to do, that's okay. But when you're dealing with a living, breathing entity that changes every second that you're alive and breathing, it doesn't work. Okay, and that's where we start to bump into things with our bodies. So instead of objectifying our bodies, and I'm going to tell you, I've had this long journey with my body. I healed from bulimia. I healed from aches and pains and all kinds of things like that. But it's even in the most recent years, and we're talking decades that I've been, really diving into this topic. I realized that I was treating my body like an object. I wasn't having a relationship with it. I did learn how to have a relationship with food and with my activity level and my emotions, but my actual body, I was treating it like an object. It needs to do what I want it to do or I won't be happy. I couldn't believe that I hadn't had that epiphany after all of these decades of working on this subject, but this is what many of us do. We treat our bodies like this thing that we drag around, and we don't really have a relationship with it. But when you do, actually, I should say something different about that. We actually do have a relationship with it. The relationship is that one that we have with an object. And that's not a very nice way to treat our bodies. But when we transform our relationship with our bodies believe our thoughts, our judgments, our bodies respond. And I could do a whole other video on the power of the mind connection with the body, and the energy of how we relate to our bodies. So we're going to get some real concrete how-tos about that today. So we want to shift from objectifying our body to relating to our body, having a relationship. And that's how we shift from human doing to human being mode, and how to start getting unstuck. So I'm going to talk about how this plays out in really specific ways. So remember, think about the things that you have that are goals or desires around your body, and see how this applies to you. So let's talk about what happens when we're in human doing mode and we are focusing on symptoms or conditions. Okay, symptoms or conditions. So this could be pain in our body, okay, a diagnosis. It could be weight. It could be your appearance. So we have these conditions. Now, when we're in human doing mode and we objectify our bodies, what we're actually saying to our bodies and consciousness is, pain, symptom, weight, you need to go away. You're an object. Go away. You're not welcome. And we treat it with resistance. I don't want you. Go away. You need to change. So when you do this, your relationship with your body is based in control. Now think about a human relationship where there's a dynamic of control. Have you ever been with somebody who's treating you in a controlling way? They're trying to control you to do what they want you to do. It doesn't feel really good, right? And how do you respond to that? Well, you're going to push against it in some way. You're either going to ignore them, you're going to push back, right? But there isn't going to be a positive experience. There's a saying in consciousness, which is, what you resist persists. All right. So when you treat your body with resistance, with go away, you're not welcome, the very same thing that has your attention, your symptoms, your weight, your challenges, it will persist. What you resist persists. So that's what happens when you objectify your body and treat it with a controlling consciousness. Another thing that happens in consciousness is when we're asking the question, all right, I'm not happy with my body. I've got some conditions and symptoms. What do I do? When you ask the question, what do I do? There's two things happening that are counterproductive. You're focusing on an outcome, okay, like the hunter who's got a target, and your relationship to this, your body as an object, is conditional. In other words, body, you need to change in order for me to be happy. If that's your relationship with your body, then that's the reality that you will manifest. You will always be holding your happiness hostage to your body's conditions changing. Furthermore, you're going to tell your body, nothing can change until I fulfill these conditions. So if you have an idea that your pain has to go away for you to be more mobile or more healthy, or you have to eat a certain way to lose weight, or you have to have a certain activity level to lose weight, then what's going to happen is your body believes your judgments. And all of the results and the outcomes you want will be held hostage until, I call it when, then thinking. When these conditions are fulfilled, then these outcomes can happen, whether they're physical outcomes or how you feel about yourself emotionally or physically. So what do I do? And focusing on the outcomes always creates delay. Remember, this pain point is around feeling stuck. So if you feel stuck and you want to have more ease, because we're focusing on ease, speed, and beyond, when then thinking and delaying everything you want based on conditions just makes it harder and harder. That's what doesn't work. And this is the way you're relating to your body when you're treating it as an object. So now let's shift into how to get unstuck and start to create greater ease. So when you get unstuck, you have a relationship with your body, a relationship. And you ask yourself, how do I want to be in my relationship with my body? How do I want to feel? And I'm going to invite you to start thinking about, how can I be guided by satisfaction? What's going to feel satisfying? What's going to feel fulfilling rather than being outcome oriented? So shift from outcome oriented to satisfaction oriented. And every time you want to ask, what do I do? Ask yourself, what would feel most satisfying? What would feel most satisfying when I feel this ache and pain? How do I want to treat myself? How do I want to feel in relationship to it? So let's drill down and get a little bit more specific. Let's say you have some symptoms. I'm going to give you a really tangible example. I had this toothache. And for a long time, whenever I'd have this toothache, it wasn't constant, but it would flare up. I had all of these things happening in consciousness. I just wanted that toothache to go away, but I would feel afraid because I didn't want to have to go to the dentist. At the time, I didn't have dental insurance and I was afraid of having a root canal or having to spend thousands of dollars of having a crown. And I had some phobias. I had some fears around the dentist. So it was this really scary thing that became kind of like this monster. And every time the pain would flare up, I would just get into this place of objectifying the pain. You need to go away, resisting it. What you resist persists. And I didn't know how to shift around it. I didn't know how to be around it. And then one day I just slowed down. And this is what I invite you to do if you have any symptoms. And I ask myself, how do I want to feel in relationship to not just my tooth, but my body in general? I wanted to feel grateful. I wanted to feel well. I wanted to feel peaceful. And I wanted to feel safe. And I realized that every time the pain came up, I was just treating it with resistance and go away and I don't like you. Those were the messages that my body was getting. So every time my toothache would come up, I started to do this. I would use that toothache as a reminder that prior to that, it wasn't hurting. Prior to that, I was feeling well. And so I would talk to my tooth and my body like this. Oh, toothache, you're here again. Thank you for reminding me of the well-being that I have felt with my tooth and my teeth for the last week. You haven't hurt me for a whole week. Thank you for this well-being. And then I started to give more attention to all the ways my body was already well. Thank you that I can breathe easily. Thank you for 2 legs that I can walk on. Thank you for my healthy skin. And I just started to pay attention to what was good and healthy and well in my body. Now, here's the thing about aches and pains and symptoms. When it comes to your body, wherever you go, there you are. And so bodies are one of these things. There's other things in life that we can distract ourselves from, or we can ignore or avoid. But we live in our bodies, and when our bodies hurt and our bodies give us symptoms, it is really challenging to focus on the gratitude and the things that are going well. But it is so essential if you're going to create some ease where you have felt stuck. You must use your pain as a reminder of all the well-being you do have. Now, I'm going to quote, I can't remember who this is, but I do need to give credit to wherever it came from, which is this. If you can't be grateful for what you have, be grateful for what you escape. And if you have aches or pains or symptoms or conditions that are really challenging for you, look for somebody who has it worse and be grateful for what you escape. Grateful, it doesn't matter how you get to gratitude. Gratitude is gratitude is gratitude. And the consciousness of gratitude is, I have well-being right here, right now, instead of I'm going to have well-being when, then, someday in the future based on a bunch of conditions. When your consciousness is gratitude for having this right here, right now, that consciousness creates that reality. It draws to you all kinds of leads and awarenesses and shifts in your body and even in your actions that leads to more flow of what you want. So that's something that you can do when it comes to symptoms. Another thing to remember around being satisfaction-based versus outcome-based is this: the goal is not the goal. Now, some of you know my story and some of you don't, but I struggled with an eating disorder for many years through college and even after. And I carried around about 60 extra pounds of weight for a long time. Now, the weight is not the issue. There's nothing wrong with extra weight. But what the torture was about for me was the self-loathing and the obsessing and the mental anguish and emotional distress of being so unhappy in my own skin. Now, one of the things that really shifted things dramatically for me was this. I used to have a control-based relationship when I had that eating disorder. And all of my attention was on eating calories and diets and what I would eat from morning until night. And I would set so many promises and commitments and charts and graphs and weigh myself and just obsess from morning until night and just live in self-loathing. I went through this for years until one day I realized that the only reason I had any goal around my body was because of how I wanted to feel. And that is the truth for any goal in your life ever. It doesn't even matter if it's wellness or beauty. Every goal you ever have is because you're chasing a feeling, the feeling that you think that goal realized will give you. But here's the thing. The goal is not the goal. The weight loss, the beauty, the clothing size is not the goal. The feeling that you think all of that's going to give you, that's the true goal. Not only is it the goal, but it is the path to the fulfillment and the ease that you seek. When you catch the feeling first, you catch the feeling of the wish fulfilled first, then your body rises up to meet you in alignment with ways of eating and ways of exercising that feel good to you. So what I trained myself to do, and this is what I offer you, which gets you unstuck, is every time you feel uncomfortable, unhappy, you ask, what do I do? You think you need to, whip yourself into shape or change your behaviors, simply stop and notice. And then practice a new relationship with your body, a new relationship with your feelings, a new self-talk. And we do this with willingness. So every time I start to get to that stinking thinking about my body, I would just say, stop. I am willing, and I'm going to give you these affirmations. I am willing to feel great in my relationship with my body, no matter how much I weigh, no matter what size clothing I wear. I am willing to feel great in my clothes, no matter what. I'm willing to feel great when I look in the mirror, no matter what. I'm willing to see my beauty, even if it feels difficult. I'm willing to see myself through the eyes of beauty. I'm willing to feel great in my activity level, whether I'm sitting on the couch or going for a walk. So focus on the feelings and just be willing. You don't have to worry about how you get to the feeling. What you focus upon flourishes. What you resist persists. What you focus upon flourishes. So focus on how you want to feel with willingness. That becomes an invitation. You can't say these affirmations enough. Eat them, breathe them, sleep them. From morning until night, because I knew that before, from morning until night, I was talking to myself in a very mean way, saying that I wasn't enough, that everything about me had to change. And so I would manifest that feeling not enough and everything having to change forever until I changed my relationship with my body. Okay. I think I had some other ones that you could do. Clothing, food, mirror, those are all triggers. So whenever you get triggered, that's when you want to stop and say your willingness mantras. Also know this, as you do this, what do I do gets taken care of. Because once you start focusing on the feelings you want to feel, the conversations, the books, the teachers, the leads, the ahas, They just start to show up because they match things that make you feel good, because that's what you're inviting. Okay. My journey was, as I started to shift my consciousness first, I attracted the teachers, the know-how, the exercises that I needed to completely heal and transform my relationship with my body. I wake up now and I don't think I'm going to commit to doing yoga every day. I ask myself, who do I want to be in relationship to exercise? I found something that I feel in alignment with. I want to be somebody who's in love with yoga. I want to be somebody who's in love with getting up in the morning and showing up for myself and my relationship with myself on that yoga mat. When I didn't make it about a how-to or a strategy or something that I had to do, like an object or something to conquer, I have to conquer this commitment, but something that I fell in love with because that's how I wanted to feel and be in relationship with my body and activity, the yoga happens every day. And that's how it can be for you. So I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please like, please share. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. I will include links for you so that you can take next steps. I have a lot of body and wellness sorts of resources that I can recommend. So I'll give you a couple that you can check out. You can also check out the other YouTube videos because I've done a number of things on body, beauty, wellness, things like that. And if you're interested in continuing to surpass your limits around this, show up for my next videos Wednesday and Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. I'll include links for the Receive community where you can get updates and all of the recordings. And please post your questions in the comments section because I am here to serve. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you at the next mini training. Bye, everybody.